Welcome to this training module on essential budgeting for renewable energy project. I'm Matteo Meneghetti, consultant at Sinloc, and I will guide you through this session, developed within the Knowledge Facility Instrument of the EnerCmed project, co-founded by the Interreg Euro-MED Programme. EnerCmed aims to promote energy transition in port hinterlands by supporting the creation of renewable energy communities integrated with nature-based solutions. The main objective is to deliver innovative solutions that address energy poverty and improve climate resilience in vulnerable residential areas of Mediterranean port cities. The project is being implemented across Genova, Valencia, Novigrad, Pula, and Patras, working closely with local authorities and communities. In this context, training, capacity buildings, and technical assistance are crucial to empower stakeholders and ensure sustainable results. Let's now dive into the budgeting dimension, a fundamental step to translate a technical vision into financially available and impactful community energy projects. In this session, we will explore the strategic role of budgeting in ensuring the successful implementation of renewable energy community. Here, we will emphasize that budgeting is not just about estimating cost. It is about aligning technical ambitions with financial feasibility. You will learn how to define the scope of your investment, assessing funding needs, and build a solid economic structure that supports both short-term action and long-term sustainability. By the end of this module, you will be equipped to create a clear financial plan, one that supports bankability and ensure that your project can move from this vision to reality. One of the defining features of renewable energy projects, especially in the case of photovoltaic plants, is the imbalance between the capital and the operational costs. Most costs are concentrated upfront in what we refer to as CAPEX, infrastructure, technology, installation, and permitting. In contrast, OPEX, the cost of operating and maintaining the system over the time, are typically much lower. This important difference can be seen in the right chart, where cost and data from a real Italian-based project are represented. In the specific case of some European countries, renewable energy community may be administered by dedicated legal entity, which may introduce an additional item both to CAPEX and to the OPEX, such as legal setup, monitoring, and administrative costs. This distribution has key implications. A solid financial strategy must ensure that sufficient funding is available for the initial investment, while also preparing for the long-term sustainability of the system. You will need to plan for potential grants, subsidies, or financial instruments to support CAPEX, and understand how OPEX will evolve over time. By clearly distinguishing between these two categories and their impact, you can better define the financial roadmap of your project. Before you can build a detailed budget, you must ask the right questions. Start by defining the total cost of the intervention. Then consider how the investment will be structured. What portion will be covered by your own equity, and how much external funding you will need. What is the timeline of your project, and what are the critical financial milestones? You will also need to identify cost drivers, such as operations, maintenance, insurance, grid connection charges, and estimate the revenue stream your project may generate. Ask to yourself, who is bearing the investment? Are there other stakeholders involved? Is the financial structure aligned with your project's risk and expected returns? Answering these questions early will help ensure consistency between technical implementation and financial plan, and will prepare you for more advanced financial modeling and decision making. To build a reliable financial plan, we need to clarify a few basic definitions. First, cost. Cost refers to the value of expenditures for labor, materials, services, and equipment. Investment, by contrast, is the allocation of resource today in exchange of future benefits. The cost of investment is the full amount required to turn your concept into an operational project, including design, permitting, infrastructure, and technology. Then, we have the return of investment, or ROI, which measures the profitability of your project. ROI is calculated by dividing the net benefit of your project by the total cost of investment. A key characteristic of photovoltaic investment is the significant impact of self-consumption rate on the project's ROI. Generally, the higher the portion of energy self-consumed, the greater the ROI. This is primarily because the economic value of self-consumed electricity is typically higher than the revenue generated from the selling of surplus electricity to the grid. Understanding these concepts is essential, not just for your internal planning, but also when presenting your project to a potential investor or funding bodies. They will want to see a clear, realistic financial structure that aligns cost with outcomes. Now we are diving into step-by-step budget planning. Let's begin with the first and most comprehensive step, budgeting for diverse activity. When planning a renewable energy community, the budget must reflect the full range of technical and operational components. These include funding for feasibility studies, resource assessment, and grid compatibility checks. Equally important is allocating resources for stakeholder engagement, consultation, and community process that ensure community buy-in. Don't forget the direct technology cost, like PV panels, inverter, batteries, and the necessary upgrades to the existing infrastructure. Include workforce training and operational expenses such as project management, monitoring, and regulatory compliance. Lastly, reserve budgeting for research and development activities to enhance efficiency and integrate emerging technology. A complete and diversified budget is the foundation for building a available, resilient project. The second step is ensuring alignment with the broader policy environment. Your budget must reflect national, regional, and European commitments. This is not only about strategic alignment, but also unlocking access to financial incentives. Take advantage of regulatory frameworks that support renewable energy, such as tax credits, grants, and carbon pricing mechanisms. Moreover, don't underestimate the compliance cost. Environmental impact assessment, permitting procedures, and emission targets may generate additional expenditures. Anticipating these costs in your budget help avoid project delays and avoid increases during the project implementation. The third step is to build trust, both inside the project and with partners, by applying clear financial rules and transparent reporting. Implement a transparent reporting system to track how funds are allocated and spent. Also consider risk management. Delays, inflation, or market shock may impact the cost structure. Allocating contingency funds is a good practice to preserve financial stability. Finally, include regular auditing and monitoring as part of the budget. These tools help you spot issues early and show that the project respects the funding condition. Next, you should focus on adopting a structured phase-based budgeting approach. Each phase of the project requires specific funding. In the initial phase, you will need the resource for research, feasibility studies, and stakeholder engagement. In the mid-term phase, the focus shifts to policy design, scenario modeling, and technical assessment. The implementation and scaling phase involves procurement, installation, and commissioning of infrastructure, often the most capital-intensive phase. Step 5 is about defining a clear investment strategy that balances short-term and long-term goals. Short-term investment may include measures like improving energy efficiency or installing a small-scale PV system, which deliver quick results and cost savings. Mapping this phase early in your budget help align resources with milestones and prevent bottlenecks. In contrast, long-term investment, such as grid transformation or large-scale storage, require more capital but deliver a higher systemic impact. Your budget should prioritize what is feasible now, while laying the foundation for future scalability. Finally, we arrive at step 6, where continuous monitoring and adaptive budgeting are considered. Projects evolve, technologies change, external conditions shift. For this reason, your budget must include the regular impact assessment and monitoring effort. You need to evaluate whether the financial allocation are achieving the intended results and adjust when they don't. This flexibility is key to keeping your project aligned with objectives and market realities. This iterative approach ensures that your renewable energy community remains financially sustainable, politically relevant, and technically impactful over time. As we conclude this module, let's recap the key takeaways. Budgeting is more than just cost estimation. It's a strategic exercise that ensures consistency between the technical objectives and financial capabilities. One of the first steps is to understand the balance between cost and CAPEX and to reflect on the key questions that help structure your approach. These include defining the investment scope, identifying revenue streams, and the project financial performance indicators such as ROI or payback period. A complete economic and financial profile builds trust with investors and institutions and is fundamental to assess funding. Remember the importance of a structured step-by-step budgeting process, which accounts for technical feasibility, policy context, stakeholder engagement, and long-term monitoring. Most importantly, budgeting is not static. It's an iterative process designed to adapt as your project grows and evolves. With the right tool and mindset, your renewable energy community can become a sustainable model for the Mediterranean region. Thank you for following this training session. We invite you to explore the EnerCmed and knowledge sharing platform by scanning the QR code on screen. There you will find a wide range of resources on technical, economic, and environmental aspects of developing renewable energy communities in Mediterranean areas.